Ron Paul makes very good points. I concur with that. I would also seek the guidance of Providence in making critical decisions.
Gene, something else happened today very interesting. At an event in Green Bay, Mitt Romney was asked about his religion. The questioner, our producers on the ground, by the way, tell us was a Ron Paul supporter. Listen to this exchange.
Well, in the Mormon book, it says there were a blackness came upon all the children of Canaan that they were.
I'm sorry, we're just not going to have a discussion about religion, in my view. But if you have a question, I'll be happy to answer your question.
Do you believe it's a sin for a white man to marry and procreate with a black?
No. Next question.
Raise the issue of color of skin. In 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court, Brown versus Board of Education, desegregated all our public schools. In 1964, civil rights laws giving full equality to black Americans. And yet it wasn't until 1978 that the Mormon Church decided to allow blacks to participate fully. Here's the headlines in the papers in June of '78. Mormon Church dissolves black bias. Citing new revelation from God, the president of the Mormon Church decreed for the first time black males could fully participate in church rites. You were 31 years old, and your church was excluding blacks from full participation. Didn't you think, what am I doing part of an organization that is viewed by many as a racist organization?
I'm very proud of my faith, and it's the faith of my fathers, and I certainly believe that it is a faith, well, it's true, and I love my faith, and I'm not going to distance myself in any way from my faith. I believe the Bible is the Word of God, absolutely. And I try to live by it as well as I can, but I miss it in a lot of ways. But it's a guide for my life and for hundreds of millions, billions of people around the world. I believe in the Bible.
Does that mean you believe every word?
Yeah, I believe it's the Word of God. The Bible is the Word of God. I mean, I might interpret the word differently than you interpret the word, but I read the Bible, and I believe the Bible is the Word of God. I don't disagree with the Bible. I try and live by it. And my most core beliefs that all people are children of God. My faith has always told me that. My faith has also always told me that in the eyes of God, every individual was merited the fullest degree of happiness in the hereafter, and I had no question in my mind that African Americans and blacks generally would have every right and every benefit in the hereafter that anyone else had, and that God is no respecter of persons.
But it was wrong for your faith to exclude them for as long as it did.
I've told you exactly where I stand. My view is that there's no discrimination in the eyes of God, and I could not have been more pleased than to see the change that occurred.
Until 1979, you couldn't be black and be a deacon or an elder of the Mormon Church. Or elder, you certainly couldn't be an elder. You couldn't play any role in it at all. It was an officially racist organization. Senator Byrds had to answer questions about that. He was a Klansman in his youth. Mitt Romney was a grown man in 1979. He should be asked, what was it like being a member of an officially racist organization? In what way are you glad that's changed, if you are glad? Stop saying that we're not allowed to ask these questions and that it's un-American to ask. The Mormons had to be told they were un-American when they practiced polygamy and weren't allowed to have Utah as a state of the Union until they changed on that. It's blowing smoke to told us that he thinks the Garden of Eden used to be in Missouri and will be again after Jesus of Nazareth returns and splits the Mount of Olives in two. Well, I mean, I think that's a crackpot belief. It doesn't have any dangerous implication. The critical thing is the Mormon Church was an officially racist organization while he was an adult. That's very important.
You suggested that Mormons are, the toss-up is whether, yes. I mean, the Mormon religion is so obviously fake founded by a transparent charlatan in the 19th century, Joseph Smith. I mean, nothing could be more obvious than that that man was a fake and a charlatan and a liar. And yet now we have a presidential candidate who is prepared to say that he believes in this mountebank, who wrote a bogus book, the Book of Mormon, although he was writing in the 19th century, chose to write it in 17th century English. I mean, why don't people see through that? I just can't understand it. But anyway, that was a digression, right?
I believe the Bible is the Word of God. Absolutely.
I would also seek the guidance of providence in making critical decisions.
I believe in the Bible. Does that mean you believe every word? Yeah, I believe it's the Word of God. The Bible is the Word of God.